Here is the story of Ruth Anderson, who was born and raised in Sioux City, Iowa. She got a bachelor's degree from the University of California at Berkeley, a master's degree at Columbia University in New York, and an honorary doctorate from Simpson College. As a young adult, Dr. Anderson established herself in Waterloo, where she pursued a professional career as an educator. She taught social work at Wartburg College and the University of Northern Iowa. In addition, she organized the social work department at the University of Northern Iowa. Also, she was director of Black Hawk County Department of Social Services and later served on the Black Hawk County Board of Supervisors. While serving in these positions, she instituted policies to improve the welfare system in Black Hawk County. Her countless accomplishments led to her induction into the Iowa Women's Hall of Fame.
I was born in Bradenton, Oklahoma, October 28th, 1921.
What was life for you like in Oklahoma?
I don't remember much growing up in Oklahoma because my folks moved to Sioux City, Iowa.
Oh, okay.
And I grew up in Sioux City, Iowa, went to school there, graduated from elementary schools and high school, Central High School there.
Describe the racial composition of the student population at Central High School.
Well,
what was it like?
Well, in Sioux City, there weren't very many African Americans in Sioux City. And I remember that the teachers brought books like The Ebony and books like that to school for us to have to read. And that's where I first learned about black colleges at Central High.
This is pretty good. I mean, you're talking about during the 30s.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have your teachers who were trying to nurture your heritage.
That's right.
Your identity.
Mm-hmm. I learned about myself, and I think that's where I began to believe that I could do whatever or be whatever I wanted to be if I put my head to it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
In fact, what happened, I learned to believe in myself at Central High School. Mm-hmm. Because I made the honor society there. And as I think about Central High School, I'm sure that it gave me the impetus to want to go to college, and then it gave me the idea of choosing a black college. So
this is interesting. So you're talking about a predominantly white school.
That's right.
During the 30s. So you graduate from high school. What year did you graduate from high school?
1939.
1939.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is impressive.
Mm-hmm.
So overall, your educational experience at Sioux City, in particular Central High School, was a very positive one.
Very positive.
Very positive.
Very
okay.
positive.
And this is what would lead you into college. In fact, they kind of paved the way for you.
And then I began, after I graduated from high school, I began to look for a college, and I did look for an all-black college. Okay. So I went to Lincoln University in Jefferson City, Missouri. Okay. At that time, it was all black. And they've changed some over the years, admitting white students.
So this is a completely different social environment for you.
Oh, yes.
Completely
I
different.
had never seen that many black people in my life at one time. But it was just disappointment, I think, in being away from Sioux City.
Okay.
I wanted to go back home. And so I left Lincoln University.
Okay.
And I tell folks my best subject is in geography because I've traveled all over the country. Because when I left Lincoln University, my folks had moved from Sioux City and they had moved to California. And so then I left Lincoln University and I enrolled at the University of California.
I understand that you would go on to get another degree eventually later on. Where would you get that degree at, and in what?
Columbia University in New York. I went there to get a degree in social work. And that's where I got my master's degree from Columbia University.
So this really shows your individualism, your uniqueness as an individual. Looking at education as the key to success.
The key to success.
Yeah, the key to success.
It would pave the way for me to do other things.
Okay.
My education was very important to me. And I remember my mother used to say to me, get all of the education you can because nobody will ever be able to take that away from you.
When did you get to Waterloo?
I came to Waterloo in 1959. I had always thought that people went to the unemployment office, and that's where I went to get a job.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So here you are going to the unemployment office, and you have a master's degree from Columbia, right?
Mm-hmm.
In social work.
Yeah.
And it's 1959.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
How did people react to that? What happened on that day? Here you are.
Well, that day, what I remember most, I didn't get a job. I certainly didn't get an interview for a job that day because it's my feeling that they were just really surprised to see a black person with a master's degree there applying for a job because they treated me very shabbily, finally asking and telling me that they didn't have any work for a master social worker, and asking me did I want to start out as a secretary and work my way up. Mm-hmm. And so I said, up to what? Mm-hmm. I thought I've already got whatever I need. So I was very disappointed at that office, and I left there feeling very disappointed. And as I mentioned, went home, met Anna Mae Weems right outside the door as if she had been standing there waiting. And I told her what had happened to me. She said right away, do you want to file a complaint against them? I said, no, I'll wait a few days. When I went home, there was a card from Columbia University trying to check on me to see what I was doing. And I wrote them back very angrily, saying that I was someplace in Iowa called Waterloo. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And they don't need black social workers here. And what Columbia did right away was start sending me places where there were openings and where I could apply for a job. And one of the places that they did send me was the welfare office in Black Hawk County.
Okay.
And that's how I happened to go down there and apply for that job, and I got it.
Okay. All right. This is perfect. Now, this would be the starting point of something that would happen big for you in your career and for the city of Waterloo, where you begin to make a major impact. Right?
Yeah. What I did was an advance in my positions there, and I finally became the director of that welfare office there. And as director, one teacher from Wartburg College came over there to talk to me and asked me if I would be willing to leave there and come to Wartburg as a teacher, because she was real pleased with the in-service training I was doing with the workers there. And she wanted me to teach at the Wartburg College in Waverly. And so she recruited me, and I did go there.
So you were teaching in the social work department?
And I taught in the social work department as a beginning professor.
Okay. Assistant professor.
Assistant.
You're assistant professor.
That's what I become, an assistant professor there. What happened was it got so cold I had to travel to Wartburg every day to teach. And it was a real cold winter. And that was the day, almost the day, as I remember, that the University of Northern Iowa came and asked me if I would be willing to come to UNI. And I said, this is the day. And then that was in '69 that I went to UNI to become an assistant professor of social work.
Okay, all right.
And I had some very good days at UNI and had some very bad days there.
Okay.
Because I remember one of the things at UNI, I joined a group that sued the university because the men teachers were making more than the women.
Okay.
And we filed a suit against the University of Northern Iowa, and the women won the suit.
Good.
And
good.
we all got raises.
Okay. Now, while you were there, you sued the university. You won the suit for discrimination against women.
Yes.
Okay. Great. Now you're going to a second lawsuit. Okay.
Yeah.
Tell us about the second lawsuit.
The second lawsuit had to do with my suing the University of Northern Iowa for failure to promote me to full professor. And I had done all the things they had asked me to do at UNI, which was basically to start the social work program there. I set up that program, and I had told them when I decided to take the job, I did not have a doctorate, and so I put in a request for promotion to full professor, which was denied.
Now you have a legal battle here against the university. Okay, this is big. I mean, this is big here, what you're fighting for.
Oh, yes, because full professor was the highest you could go. I didn't win that suit, but the finding was that I had the qualifications for promotion to full professor because other persons had been promoted to full professor with fewer qualifications than I had. The finding was that they should look very carefully at my qualifications before I was turned down. Mm-hmm.
But clearly, your track record demonstrates that you're worthy of such promotion. In fact, I know that Simpson College, in fact, would later on award you an honorary doctorate. Honorary doctorate, correct?
Honorary doctorate from Simpson College in 1990. I had become professor and acting head of that same department of social work in the fall of 1988.
Monday, August 5th, 1985. There's a photograph with you and 3 other individuals. The heading of it is New Substance Abuse Prevention Program Aimed at Black Teens. Mm-hmm. Here you are doing community service. Tell us a little bit about this program that you were involved with, and why was the program important, and what was your role?
Well, substance abuse was quite prevalent in our community, and I took a particular interest in substance abuse because my father was an alcoholic. Mm-hmm. And so over the years I have always worked in substance abuse, and I got 2 or 3 awards for doing work in that area. There was not a particular place where blacks could go to call their own for treatment. Okay. So I worked with Melvina Scott, who worked with teens, to set up a place for them to go and sort of have coffee and just sort of move around together and relate together. And as I remember, those teens became mentors to other teens who had stopped, or if they didn't stop, they tempered their use of alcohol. Okay. And the young men or young women who became mentors to them would invite them to this meeting place that they had to go.
Okay, this is good because, this is the first type of program that was created in Waterloo. So this is the first.
It was.
And here you are leading. You are on top of this thing. You're creating this program for a problem that we have in the community here. So this is good. I'm looking here at another article from the Courier that talks about it's titled Expectations Low on Federal Report on Welfare Reform. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I know during your time working in the system, working for the welfare system and other things that you did for the city of Waterloo, affecting change, how did you deal with all the negative criticism?
I had real difficulty dealing with what was criticism that was aimed at the AFDC mother.
Okay.
I remember writing our articles and saying that the AFDC mother is 90% better than you think she is.
Okay.
Because most of those mothers cared for their children. They many times didn't know how to transfer that caring to their children. They didn't know how to let their children know that they really loved and cared for them. And that's why I knew the AFDC mother was 90% better than the folks thought she was, because they didn't know her. They didn't get to know them like I did.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
As their worker, I got to know them. I got to visit in their homes. I got to see that they cared about their homes, keeping them up. And I knew all the good things about the welfare mother that they didn't know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because you had the
I
direct
had
contact.
the opportunity to get to know them,
Mm-hmm.
which I valued.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. As you would begin to continue to advocate for the welfare system in a different capacity. So here you are as a social worker. Mm-hmm. You're on the ground as an educator at the university. Okay. So you feel just about every role. In fact, you would go to the highest level, right?
Mm-hmm.
You'd go to the highest level, and you'd be elected to the county, Black Hawk County Board of Supervisors.
Board of Supervisors.
Okay.
And that one of the reasons I really wanted to get on the Board of Supervisors, because in that kind of position, you help make the rules. Okay. You don't just interpret them. I needed to be where I could make the rules.
Okay.
And that's why I wanted to be on the Board of Supervisors, because we made the rules.
Okay. Because you ran for it, be the first position in the 80s, and you lost.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay, because you'd run again the next term. Right?
Mm-hmm.
You'd run again, and you were elected.
Yes, I was elected.
It was a sweep.
Landslide.
Yeah, it was a sweep, so you win it in the mid-'80s. And so tell me, what were, now it's my understanding you were the first.
Yes.
You were the first.
I was the first Black to be elected to a seat at large in Black Hawk County, which meant that all of the counties in Black Hawk had to vote for me.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And this is bigger than that, because, in fact, your impact on the welfare system itself as a whole was statewide. Isn't that correct?
Yeah.
Was statewide.
Another reason it became statewide, and I know about it, is because at the University of Northern Iowa, where I taught social work for 22 years, students who graduated from that program have taken jobs all over Iowa. Mm-hmm. And when I think about it, when I chose going to UNI, I remembered that most of the students who graduated from UNI lived and stayed and worked in the state of Iowa. Mm-hmm. And that was one of the reasons that I really chose that. Mm-hmm. Because I knew I could influence the education of the social worker and have her carry that on with her to her job.
Mm-hmm.
And I have, over the years, I've got lots of letters from students who graduated from that program,
Mm-hmm.
where they're working and what they're doing and what role they're playing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so proud of them.
That's
Mm-hmm.
very impressive because, again, here it is. You're making a tremendous impact for the good on all levels. In fact, you came in and you reformed the welfare program in Waterloo, developed
Mm-hmm.
it. Okay, you spearheaded the charge of reforming it and developing it, and in fact, right, it became the model that many other cities,
Mm-hmm.
right, begin to use to reform and develop there as well. Correct.
Mm-hmm.
It became the model.
And the welfare office that I ran was written up many times by the state as the best run welfare office in the state of Iowa.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I really was proud of that. That was probably one of the reasons that they recruited me from Wartburg.
Mm-hmm.
They knew about my program.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So you're a very attractive candidate. So this woman sees it, she pulls you, right, and she gets your skills in the Wartburg, and the students benefit from it, obviously. And then you and I obviously sees the same thing. You had this skill set that the entire university community could benefit from, and so could the students.
Mm-hmm.
So you come in there, and
it was good. It was good for me to learn that most of the students who graduated from UNI lived and worked and stayed in the state of Iowa.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
That helped me know that I could influence the delivery of service to people all across the state.
Mm-hmm.
And I was proud of that.
And so here you are. You're the first African American female to serve on the board, the supervisory board for Black Hawk County.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you were to come in and develop a program, a social work program for the University of Northern Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
You would come in and you would do that. Okay, and then.
And incidentally, that program, which was an undergraduate degree, now has a master's at UNI for social workers.
Ah, okay.
And
This is
I
good.
found that out after I left. They applied for a master's and got it.
So you laid the foundation for them. So now the social work program is very successful as a result of you.
It's very successful at UNI.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. All right. Now let's talk about some of the recognition you got. I know KBBG had a banquet in your honor.
I got the KBBG award.
Also, we know that the NAACP also honors your
Past
work.
Prisoner Report Award. Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about that just for a minute. Your role in the NAACP. Let's talk about that here.
I was, as president, I helped to file a lawsuit against the Waterloo School District.
Okay.
And it had to do with a number of things, like classes taught, no Black history classes taught at high schools.
Okay.
And it had to do with the low achievement of Black students.
Okay.
And they've, over the years, been monitoring that.
Okay.
And I remember that Robert Smith, who was on the Board of Education, kept records of achievements going up
Okay.
by
Good.
black students.
Okay.
I know that at the time when they were trying to desegregate the schools,
Okay.
it was at that time when we did workshops, called desegregation works. Let's make it work in Waterloo, and on in the NACP we did numbers of those workshops.
What was your biggest challenge as you were working on this desegregation process? What was the biggest challenge?
A couple of school board members wanted to keep what was called segregated sites.
Okay.
And they had an NSA called neighborhood schools, and they in fact, 2 board members were heading that,
Okay.
which was basically to keep black kids in certain schools or in certain areas. At one time, Grant School was an all-black school.
Okay.
And I worked on getting that Grant School, making it a school where they could bus in white students to Grant School.
You're in the middle of this, right? You're in the center of this, and you are leading the way to breaking down desegregation in Waterloo.
Mm-hmm.
You're leading the way. Again, another.
I did a lot of that through NACP.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay. They have a reception for your book because you wrote a book.
Yeah, they did. Mm-hmm.
The title of your book is
From Mother's Aid Child to University Professor, an autobiography of an American black woman.
Okay. Very good book. I read the book. Very good. Tell me, what was the biggest challenge about writing that particular book?
As I think back about it, many of the things about growing up on welfare,
Okay.
I didn't realize how punitive that system was until I was out of it. In fact, many of the visits that the workers made to my home, I think back, were just to check on my mother. And as I said, I really didn't recognize most of that until I wrote the book.
Mm-hmm.
And some of that had to be pointed out by others who were reading my book. In fact, one of the people who wrote a foreword to it said that she didn't agree with that system at all, and I grew from recognizing that that system was punitive. And but she had written that she was glad I wrote the book because the story needed to be told.
I think it's a very inspirational story. Here you are raised on welfare.
I was, yeah.
Then you grow up, become highly educated, become extremely successful. You do everything that is said that welfare prevents people from doing. They become dependent on the welfare system, right?
Yep.
All the criticism that you've had to deal with over the years, and you work so hard to dispel the myths and the stereotypes. And so you're a living example of that. A living example. That's wonderful. What was the thing about the book that you liked the most? The most?
I think I liked most working with my clients who were on welfare. I liked working with them and writing about them.
Okay.
Who were on welfare, who were my clients. I really liked writing about them.
Those experiences. Yes.
Those experiences with them.
Okay. Again, it's a wonderful book. It's a wonderful book.
I'm glad you had a chance to read it.
It's in fact another one of your accomplishments. Another one of your many accomplishments. Let's talk about you in the Iowa Women's Hall of Fame. You were inducted to that.
I was inducted into the Iowa Women's Hall of Fame.
Okay. And tell us, tell me the story of that experience. What was it like? I mean, this is a huge accomplishment here.
At first, when I got the letter, the hardest thing was for me to be quiet about and not tell anybody about it until the day I would be inducted. And so I would start to, you know what happened? And then I remembered that I was not to tell anybody. And that was the hardest thing for me to do because I needed to invite people to my induction, but I couldn't tell them I was going to be inducted because the letter to me specifically said, do not mention this to anybody.
And so they tell you don't tell, so you have to hold all the excitement. You have to hold it in.
That was the problem.
Hold it all in. And so then when you were able to let the excitement out, because now you're at the event. At the event, you're able to really relax and enjoy this huge recognition. What was that like? I mean, to be able to know that you accomplished something like this.
Well, when they read, they had a script that they read, and when they were reading the script of all the things I had accomplished and I had done, I kept thinking, are they talking about me? And I wondered where they got all that stuff. I know they had to do their research to induct me into the Hall of Fame. But it was something to sit there and listen to all the good things they were saying about me. I do remember that they had the golden cups there that we received. Okay. And I kept looking at them, wondering, is that what we get? My attention was all on listening to the things they were saying about me and what I had done. And there was basically, to me, where do I go from here?
Okay. Well, again, another great accomplishment for you. It has been a pleasure hearing your story, hearing about your accomplishments, learning more about you. And it's been an honor to sit here and interview you, knowing all the things that you have done for, not only for yourself, but for the community in general.
Thank you.